Hi everybody, and today I'm gonna read you the story The Tale of the Two Bad Mice by Beatrix Potter. Once upon a time, there was a very beautiful doll's house. It was red brick with white windows. It had real muslin curtains in front of the door and chimney. It belonged to two dolls called Lucinda and Jane. At least it belonged to Lucinda, but she never ordered meals. Jane was the cook, but she never did any cooking because the dinner had been bought ready-made in a box full of shavings. There were two red lobsters, and a ham, a fish, a pudding, and some pears and oranges. They would not come off the plates because they were extremely beautiful. One morning, Lucinda and Jane had gone out for a drive in the doll's perambulator. There was no one in the nursery, and it was very quiet. Presently, there was a little scuffling, scratching noise, and in a corner near the fireplace, there was a hole under the skirting board. Tom Thumb put out his head for a moment and popped it in again. Tom Thumb was a mouse. A minute afterward, Hunca Munca, his wife, put her head out too and saw there was no one in the nursery. She ventured out into the oilcloth under the oil box. The doll's house stood at the other side of the fireplace. Tom Thumb and Hunca Munca went cautiously across the hearth rug. They pushed the front door. It was not fast. Tom Thumb and Hunca Munca went upstairs and peeped into the dining room. They squeaked with joy. There was such a lovely dinner laid upon the table. There were tin spoons and lead knives and forks, two dolly chairs, all so convenient. Tom Thumb set to work once to carve the ham. It was a beautiful shining yellow, streaked with red. The knife crumpled up and hurt him. He put his finger in his mouth. It's not cooked enough. Boiled enough. It's hard. You have a try, Hunca Munca. Hunca Munca stood up in her chair and chopped at the ham with his knife. It's as hard as the hams at cheesemongers, said Hunca Munca. The ham broke off the plate with a jerk. It rolled under the table. Let it alone, said Tom Thumb. Give me some fish. Hunca Munca tried every tin spoon in turn, but the fish was glued to the dish. When Tom Thumb lost her temper, he put the ham in the middle of the floor, hit it with the tongs with a shovel. Bang, bang, smash. The ham flew into all pieces underneath the shiny paint, but it was made nothing but plaster. There was no end to the rage and disappointment of Tom's Thumb and Hunca Munca. They broke up the pudding, lobsters, and pears and oranges. The fish could not come off the plate, but it put it in a red-hot, crinkly paper fire. But it would not burn either. Tom Thumb went up the kitchen chimney and looked out the top. There was no soup. While Tom Thumb was up the chimney, Hunca Munca had another disappointment. He found some tiny canisters upon the dresser, labeled rice, coffee, and sago. But when she turned them upside down, there was nothing inside except red and blue beads. Then those mice set to work to do all the mischief they could, especially Tom's Thumb. He took Jane's clothes out of the chest drawers in her bedroom and threw them out of the top floor window. But Hunca Munca had a frugal one. She ended up pulling half of the feathers out of Lucinda's bolster. She remembered that she herself was in want of a feather bed. Then Hunca Munca went back to a fish chair, a bookcase, a bird cage, and the bookcase and the bird cage refused to go into the mouse hole. Hunca Munca left them behind the coal box and went to fetch a cradle. Hunca Munca was just returning with another chair, and suddenly there was a noise of talking outside upon the landing. The mice rushed back to their hole, and dolls came into the nursery. But a sight met the eyes of Jane and Lucinda. Lucinda sat up on the upstairs kitchen stove and stared, and Jane leaned against the kitchen dresser and smiled. But neither of them made any remark. The bookcase behind the bird cage were rescued from under the coal box. The Hunca Munca has got the cradle and some of Lucinda's clothes. There was also some useful pots and pans and several other things. The girl that the doll's house belonged to said, "I will get a doll dressed like a policeman." But the nurse said, "I will set a mouse trap." So that is the story of the two bad mice. But they were not so very naughty after all, because Tom Thumb paid for everything he broke. He found a crooked sixpence under the hearth rug, and upon Christmas Eve, he and Hunca Munca stuffed it into the stockings of Lucinda and Jane. And every morning, before anybody was awake, Hunca Munca comes with her dustpan and her broom to sweep the dolly's house. And then this is the end, and see you next time with the next story, The Tale of Mr. Tiggywinkle.